Welcome to Cal State Fullerton's The Report with the latest news, views, and info to go. I'm Christina Rasband.
I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Jen Moynihan.
Today we will start by discussing some hot topics, including mandatory vaccinations for UC students, new proposals from the FCC, and the ongoing conflict against ISIS and more.
Beyond our discussion, we have reports on current CSUF events, including updates on theater's latest spring play, plus an art show now open at the Begovich Gallery.
And finally, we conclude with some local and national news, including a farewell to one city's iconic sports park, a proposed housing project in Orange County, Chinese internet censorship, and more.
But first, we'll begin with our segment called Hot Topics, where we'll discuss the top trending topics of the week. Attention future University of California students. Beginning in 2017, the UC system will require incoming students to be vaccinated. UC Irvine has already implemented students to get vaccinated because individual campuses have the ability to set their own rules. According to UC spokesperson Brooke Converse, the system-wide mandate was developed long before the recent measles outbreak tied to Disneyland. Currently, students are only required to have hepatitis B vaccination to enroll in the 10 campuses. Starting 2017, required vaccinations will include measles, mumps, and rubella, chickenpox, and whooping cough. Students will be able to seek waivers for personal, religious, or health reasons. Do you think it is reasonable to require vaccinations at a higher education institution?
I remember when I was younger, kindergarten through 12th grade, even 8th grade, I brought in my vaccination card every year and they checked off like, oh yeah. So I think a lot of us do have these vaccinations already, but it would probably affect the students that are now going through elementary school that will be in college in the next few years, whether or not they're going to get vaccinations or not. It makes it easier though when, by saying that you can use religious or personal reasons to opt out of it. But at the same time, why make that an option? Because then these students aren't going to get vaccinated. So what's the point then?
Yeah, and I think it's also interesting that a lot of, like you were saying, these vaccinations, most of us already have them.
Yeah.
Because we were required kindergarten all the way through high school to have them for schools. My concern is they're implementing this at UCs right now. What's to say that they're not going to do it at Cal States? I mean, who's to say that by 2017, 2018, we're not going to have it here, you know, where they say, oh, to be able to register for classes at a Cal State now, you're going to have to be vaccinated. So the people who do opt out for religious reasons or the people who don't have as serious of a reason, they might not be able to. A video released by ISIS showing the execution of a captured Jordanian military pilot was met with swift retribution. In response to the graphic video, Jordan has executed 2 ISIS-linked detainees who had previously been demanded as part of a potential prisoner exchange. The international community is left puzzled about ISIS's motives for executing such high-value captives and concerned about the wisdom of so hasty a response by Jordanian officials. Many see the actions of both sides as being aimed at strengthening support for their respective positions in the ongoing international struggle between the two groups. Do you feel that the Kingdom of Jordan reacted in a just and appropriate manner, or do you feel that by executing ISIS operatives, they could be creating martyrs for other extremists to emulate?
I think when you're put in that situation, you don't really know how you're going to react until you are put in that situation. So we can say all day that it was an injustice for Jordan to react the way with hanging some of ISIS's people, but at the same time, we don't really know how we would react. I do think, to put it in like little kid terminology, if you have 2 kids and they're fighting over a toy, you know, or 2 toys, and one takes away a toy and smashes it into pieces, if the other kid takes his toy and smashes it into pieces, that leaves 2 kids with smashed up toys and there's no solution. Yeah. So for ISIS to, you know, kill one of Jordan's people and then Jordan to react by killing some of their people, there's no solution. And I think that's
yeah,
where we're going. We need to figure out the solution to the issue because it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, I think it's been going on for too long. Like you said, it's getting out of hand. Too many people have died already. Too much hate going on. I think what they reacted this way because no one has really reacted to anything like this, and so they thought maybe let's change it up. I can see where they were coming from. Let's change it up. Maybe if we react this way, they'll back down. But I do think everyone is scared. They don't know how to deal with ISIS because we've never really dealt with a group like this, and so it's difficult because we don't know what to do, and they're just getting bigger.
I think the biggest problem is like what you were saying is everybody is so, or at least not necessarily the Western nations, but the nations that are directly affected are afraid because they are gaining traction. You know, they're not just in Syria. Recently, they executed people on a beach in Libya. They were Christians from Egypt. You know, they set the Jordanian pilot on fire and had such a horrific death that they paraded around to send a message to countries that were helping the West or that were trying to put a stop to ISIS. And I feel like that is the bigger issue. You know, we need to organize and, you know, stop this from happening again.
Do you think by Jordan hanging two of ISIS's people that ISIS is upset by it in any way?
Probably, most likely. But at the same time, those people weren't innocent. Like, I know one of them was responsible for a suicide bombing, and the other one helped plan a bombing at a hotel. So,
but at the same time, they just keep bringing people in. So how are they keeping track of all of these people that are in their group? And do they really, the head people of ISIS, do they have a connection with all of these people?
Well, no, I think it's not organized. Yeah. They have different facets all over. And they also, like you were saying on social media, you were showing me earlier pictures, they hacked federal accounts and put out messages saying, hey, you know, if you're in the area and you can't join the fight, there's military personnel nearby, go ahead and go after them, which is horrible, but that's how they're getting their message across.
Yeah, that's a scary part because you don't know who's in it and who's not. They grab people from everywhere, and that's why I think it just all needs to end.
Well, and the ability of social media, too, you can reach out to the masses and get a response from the masses within minutes, you know? It's crazy.
A popular attraction that has been operating for more than 3 years in Newport Beach is creating controversy. The Harbor Commission is recommending that Newport Beach City Council force the water jetpack attraction outside the harbor and in the open ocean because some residents near the harbor have complained about the noise and exhaust fumes. Local yacht captain and boat owner Robert Pettingill said, "We spend thousands of dollars to maintain the boat, and they come right next to it with the wind blows and spray salt water on the boats. In 10 seconds, they can ruin a week's worth of work." However, Jetpack America, which operates the ride and others like it in San Diego and Las Vegas, says that moving it to the open ocean will put them out of business. Company president Dean O'Malley believes that the open ocean is for experienced jetpack pilots and can be a safety hazard for inexperienced riders. He says everything on the ocean is much less predictable. It will make it a lot more difficult, more dangerous. Should water jetpacking be moved out onto the open ocean?
Well, earlier we watched that episode of people doing, water jetpacking? Okay. And
in Newport Harbor.
We watched it.
It was.
And they were not even close to the boats or the homes. So I didn't see them as being loud. I didn't see them as being obnoxious or anything.
No exhaust.
No exhaust, just water, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was totally fine. I want to go, right?
Yeah.
We all agreed that we wanted to go and try it out. So I don't know. I think that they're in the wrong for saying that it's an inappropriate act.
Yeah, and I think also too, like we were watching the video, and I feel like to be able to do this, it's got to take a little bit of practice. So doing it in the harbor is definitely a lot safer than doing it out in the open ocean where anything could happen, tide, currents. And for the boat owners to say that it's polluting the area, it's noisy, we don't like it. Well, the harbor is noisy. There's boats there.
But it didn't even sound noisy.
It wasn't noisy. Boats give off exhaust too, so the people that are complaining about the exhaust smell, it's not even from the jetpack, I don't think. That's just water that's coming out of the jetpack. It's from the ski, or it's all the boats in the harbor give off that same smell. My family, when I was younger, we'd take our boat out. We kept it out of salt water for a reason, because it does damage the boat, and so we put it in fresh water. But when you put your boat in salt water, you know that it's going to slowly deteriorate the boat. And when you have it in the harbor and it's in the water the whole time, yes, even when it rains or when it gets windy, you don't even need any other boats or anything in the water for salt water to get on the boat. So either way, you're going to have something. And they were far away from the boats, too.
They totally were.
So,
well, and last spring, I went on a jet ski in Lake Havasu, and my friend was like, oh, you know, I wish I could ride this in California, but it's been banned because of the exhaust fuels that it's giving off.
yeah.
So I'm pretty certain that probably the jet skis people are riding out here are not giving off the fuels that people are stating that they're giving off, because they've been banned and people are finding other areas to drive them around and stuff. So I really didn't see anything wrong with what we did see online. So if you want to go on YouTube and look them up, let us know what you think. But
Come try it with us.
yeah, it didn't look
It looked
as
like
bad.
fun.
Yeah.
It looked like a lot of fun. What
looked
I
like a
don't
lot of
get
fun.
is if you're a resident and you purchase a home by the harbor, you should expect some kind of smell.
Probably check out the area
You
before
should know
you, yeah.
that go to the harbor just for half an hour, even 10 minutes. You're going to smell the fumes from the boats. You're going to hear noises, not just from boats, but people do go to the harbor.
Right.
You're going to hear them talking. What are they going to complain about? The activity of people talking? Like,
Yeah.
Or just going
No,
to the
I
beach
don't
in
know.
general.
just going to the
Yeah.
beach? Are we going to ban people from going to the beach?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It looks like
It's
fun.
our banter. But no, definitely check out those videos. They're really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Could sitting for a long period of time with little or no exercise lead to a severe illness or even death? Researchers from Toronto believe so. A new study published in the Annals of Internal Medicine states sedentary behavior increases the chance of getting a disease or condition that may cause premature death, even with exercise. The researchers analyzed 47 studies of sedentary behavior and found that sitting a person typically does outweighs the benefits of exercise. According to the World Health Organization, physical inactivity has been identified as the fourth leading risk factor for death worldwide. What do you think about this study, and would it make you change your lifestyle choices?
Well, I think it's kind of funny to say that sitting, I guess we're dying right now.
Like
I
right
guess
now.
so.
We're dying. When are we not dying? But really, like, I think the biggest thing, if I were going to change anything about my lifestyle choices, is just to be more conscious of exercising and moving around. I know there's a lot of devices that you can track, you know, how many steps you're taking a day. I have my Fitbit. I was going to leave it in my purse. My little Fitbit. But it's pink. But like, it tracks how many steps I'm taking per day. It tracks my sleep. It tracks how I'm active throughout the day, what I'm eating I can put in. And I'm going to have little competitions with my friends. It's cool.
Ooh.
But yeah, just being health conscious, what you're eating is
Yeah.
also important. I think every year we're finding out a new study of something that's killing us. So surprise, surprise, sitting is killing us too.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, every second we live takes a second off of our life.
Yep.
So either way, we're dying. Believe it or not.
We're
I'm
dying.
sorry. We are dying.
Smile.
But we are living. So I don't
Yeah.
think sitting is that bad as long as you do it in small amounts. As if you add in exercise, if you add in healthy foods, like, it's not going to be bad.
Right.
People have sat for years, not at one time, but people have been sitting. I'm going to continue sitting, especially in classes. That's the only way I can get through my classes if I sit through it and sit in a desk. But at work, I stand for 5 hours at a time. I work in a gym, so I get it. I stand. I'm not changing my lifestyle. So sorry, your study isn't going to affect me.
Same. I think it's all about moderation, like what you were saying.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can take that extra step when you're going to class. You can park a little farther away. You could take the stairs instead of the elevator. You know, you don't have to be sitting all the time. You can, you know, get up from your desk to go get a cup of coffee or something. You know, it's like little things. Or like you were talking about eating better, working out. It's all about moderation and how you choose to do these things. I don't think sitting on its own is causing people to die faster. I think it's people who do it excessively, where they sit on the couch all day.
Yeah.
But let's look at technology, right? So we're having a lot of video gaming, a lot of Netflix binging. A lot of things are going into this virtual reality kind of world, right? So I can see kind of why this study might come out right now, because a lot of people are tending to spend a lot more time at home on the couch, escaping through media.
Yeah.
And so maybe making those people a little bit more conscious of how many hours a day they are sitting and just kind of letting themselves become couch potatoes is affecting their health.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Just get up and move around.
Yeah.
just wiggle. Shake it off.
Shake it off.
Shake it
Just
off.
shake it
Yep.
off, guys.
And now let's switch over to some campus events of the week. Dinner and a movie? How about dinner and a play? A new spring theater production is set to open Friday, February 20th at the Hallberg Theater at CSUF. The play, written by Jeffrey Hatcher and directed by Dr. Joseph Arnold, is an adaptation of George Bernard Shaw's An Unsocial Socialist. The political comedy portrays a millionaire socialist who leaves his bride on their wedding day with intentions to overthrow the British government. Tickets are now on sale at $11 apiece. The play will run through March 15th, and everyone loves a good comedy with an underlying love story.
Calling all art fanatics, the art of Peter Gelker has been on display at the Bekovich Gallery here at Cal State Fullerton since January 24th. The pieces are called Whirligs and are the results of psychology and art intertwining. The exhibit features 20 different whirligigs, each with a unique message. The pieces are mainly created using wood, metal, and paint. Gelker is a psychiatrist living in Santa Ana with his wife. The exhibit is open Monday through Thursday from noon to 4 in the afternoon and Saturdays from noon to 2 o'clock.
And in the world of business, the 2015 CSU Fullerton Business Plan Competition is approaching fast, and entrepreneur hopefuls at Cal State Fullerton are finding that this competition is the perfect way for them to gain publicity for themselves and their companies. Here's Abraham Williams with more.
The business plan competition is kicking off, and students at Cal State Fullerton will have a chance to pitch their business ideas to investors.
Starting your own business is not easy. Even knowing where to begin can be a challenge. In the room on the other side of this wall, students are getting a business plan boot camp.
Professor David Obsfeld leads this core of business minds in the last boot camp before the competition begins. His troupe of entrepreneurs will go into their think tanks to develop a business idea in the next couple of weeks to present in front of a panel of investors. Last year's winner, Andre Conde, talks about his experience in the business plan competition.
We entered business plan and we went in there, we did all the questionnaire, and next thing you know, we had this, presentation, we developed full business plan, we made it to finals, and we won business plan. And from that, we went on to other competitions, and it was awesome exposure. It was, you met so many people, from, all over the country with different ideas.
There is an opportunity to explore a business plan even if a competitor doesn't win first place. In the past, some participants have had the experience of their idea getting the attention of an investor who was willing to meet with them to further develop their idea. But until then, these business hopefuls have some homework to do.
In the coming weeks, that room full of students will be narrowed down to 16. They'll pitch their plan to a panel of judges who will narrow it down further to 3. After that, they'll pitch their plan again and declare a winner. For the report, I'm Abraham Williams.
And now we'll switch over to some updates in local news. Bay Area sports fans bid farewell to San Francisco's iconic Candlestick Park. The stadium, which opened in 1960, was home to the MLB Giants and the NFL 49ers. Demolition crews have begun the arduous work of dismantling the 55-year-old venue piece by piece. A planned implosion of the structure was overruled due to concerns of spreading toxic materials to nearby communities. A 500,000 square foot urban outlet consisting of homes, parks, and retail space is slated to occupy the site within the next 4 years.
The Anaheim City School District recently received grants and donations to start new science programs next school year based on sports. Elementary students will learn how baseball is played on a diamond, what math is used by groundskeepers, and ways players train to score, all with the help from the Angels and the LA Galaxy. In addition, the Angels and Galaxy plan to provide game tickets so students can see the science in action. The sports science program will be implemented into the school district's curriculum.
An Orange County housing development plan in consideration by Orange County courts is creating excitement for local developers. If approved, the court ruling will develop to build housing in several rural canyons in Orange County, including Trabuco Canyon. This is causing concern among canyon residents and firefighters because they believed that building new homes in these remote canyons will increase the already high risk of fire and make it more difficult for firefighters to fight wildfires in these canyons. Orange County Fire Authority Chief Brian Norton says if you go to an area that has limited access, there's not overhead clearance, and there's not defensible space, the chance of defending those houses decreases exponentially.
And now we'll take a look at some of the latest news here in the U.S. and abroad. President Barack Obama asked U.S. Congress on Wednesday to authorize military force to degrade and defeat Islamic State forces in the Middle East without sustained large-scale U.S. ground combat operations. Republicans expressed unhappiness that Obama chose to exclude any long-term commitment of ground forces, while some Democrats voiced disappointment that he had opened the door to deployment at all. While asking lawmakers to discourage long-term, large-scale ground combat operations like those in Afghanistan and Iraq, Obama said he wants the flexibility for ground combat operations in other more limited circumstances. Those include rescue missions, intelligence collection, and the use of special operation forces in possible military action against Islamic State leaders.
President Barack Obama is proposing nearly $280 billion in tax cuts for low and middle income families. Obama's proposed budget calls for a total of $1.5 trillion in new taxes over the next decade, mostly on corporations and high-income households. He would use much of that money to pay for targeted tax breaks for low and middle income families. The proposed tax cuts would benefit households with two wage earners, families with young children in child care, and those with older children in college. The Obama administration says its proposal addresses decades of rising income and wealthy inequality.
The Chinese government has expanded its internet censorship policy recently. Government agents have begun cracking down on VPNs, or virtual private networks, which have long served as consumer-level workarounds for accessing restricted websites such as YouTube and Facebook. China currently boasts 650 million internet users, almost double the entire population of the United States. E-commerce businesses are reeling from the effect of these actions on their Chinese customer base.
Recent dips in gas prices may only be temporary. The Secretary General of OPEC issued a statement recently saying that oil prices have hit a bottom and will begin to rebound, eventually returning to triple-digit per barrel figures. What's more, he claims that a rise in prices may be necessary to facilitate future production as protection against potential unforeseen shortages.
Well, that's all we have on this edition of The Report. Join us next time for more up-to-date news, views, and info to go. I'm Christina Rasband.
I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Jen Moynihan. Stay fresh, Fullerton.